Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Smoke blunts.
That was such a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's Emma Stone in that SNL sketch if you've never seen it. That's literal impression.
I never have, yeah.
It's very good. Hell yeah. She's a poster. She's a poster that came to life, like in a guy's dorm room. It's very funny.
It sounds like
That
a poster
sounds
that came to
delightful.
life, yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Most of my
having
posters, if
fun.
they came to when I was a kid, most of my posters, if they came to life, they'd sound like whoosh or something like that.
You'd be a
Right.
Skinamarink. That's a Skinamarink situation.
Yeah, real skinamarink. Yeah, getting skinamarinked by my Ren and Stimpy posters.
Oh man.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What are
hi.
Hypecast?
Hi.
It is the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
And you've already heard me talk. I'm Drew Grant.
Drew.
You are.
Yeah.
Welcome. How are you? How are things?
I promised myself I wouldn't interrupt as much this time as a general note just for everything. So I'm doing well.
Do you interrupt?
Drew, 85 to 87% of podcasting is interrupting.
Yeah,
So don't worry about
every
it.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just interrupted. I spent every podcast terrified that I'm interrupting too much. So I wouldn't worry about it.
I just don't usually notice if I'm interrupting, and then also that's like grabbing the mic and monologuing, which is probably why I don't get invited to too many podcasts. But I
It's
noticed,
tough.
yeah, I've started a new job, and I realize I do it all the time during like Zoom meetings.
Well, I want you to know that my sister loves your episodes.
Yeah.
Like she listened to the Skinamarink one. She's like, "Who is that person?" I love her whenever she's on. So you got a fan. You got
Yeah.
a fan in my sister.
That's sweet.
Is this weird that I like quote the Skinamarink trailer to myself when I'm just like randomly walking around? Like, you know how like
100%. That's
in
weird.
this
like, you know-
house.
Yep. You know how a song will get stuck in your head? Well, that gets stuck on my head in a loop. Just in this house.
In this house.
In this house.
You-
Like,
when
I
they
just
were-
think to myself that that is running through my head when I'm just walking around doing stuff during the day.
Yeah. In this house.
Like most
in this
people have like
house.
walking on sunshine in their head or like too legit to quit. I'm thinking about the fucking Skinamarink trailer.
Yeah, it's funny because I also just don't listen to that much music. So sometimes I'll just turn to Eric apropos of nothing, like while doing something else, and go, "Oh my god, isn't that funny what Scully said?" Because I'm literally referencing one of your guys' X-Files episodes.
Incredible.
And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes he'll like be like, "Oh, I can sort of put the pieces together what you're talking about." And sometimes it's like, I have no idea what Dave said Scully said. This one.
So you just have our podcast stuck in your head?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we can do the intro from heart. Like I can do it from memory.
Oh, that's wonderful. I can't, but I've been rewatching X-Files, you know, as one does, and it's fun whenever one of the quotes from the intro does show up.
Yeah.
I forgot that I have like two that are just from
From the
Jose
same episode.
Chung's.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one we're currently on is the kick we're currently on the Dave and Tom X-Files thing is I think it was like 2 weeks ago when you guys made the joke about like this only happens in the movies, like, or this happens outside the movies, and she's like, "No, Scully, it doesn't." I messed up the joke, but like my friend thought that was so
Which
funny.
episode?
It was like 2 weeks ago when Scully was like,
Salvage, right? That's
Yep.
the Metal Man.
"Yep."
Right.
The fucking Metal Man.
No, Scully, it doesn't happen outside of movies. He just thinks that's really funny.
Right.
Scully is becoming a maniac.
She's really losing her mind.
Yeah, I love it.
Mulder's really infected her.
Yeah.
Everyone around him, really. He's ruined Scully, Skinner, probably Chuck. Chuck's life is probably demonstrably worse. Even the lone gunmen are probably doing worse than they were.
He's like the fucking Babadook. Like, he's just in your mind, and he just drives you mad.
He's a skimmerink.
He's skimmeranking them. I know for a fact. The lone gunmen's lives are worse off since because they fucking die because they met Mulder.
Yeah.
Spoilers for X-Files.
For X-Files, but
they predict 9/11 and then they die.
Exactly. Well, not to get too into it, I think Chris Carter's Q, but let's move on.
He
could be cute. He could be a Q.
100%.
Okay, well, we have some business. Let's start with Drew. Thank you, by the way, for being on here.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. Always a delight. Do you want to plug anything?
Oh yeah. Up top. Sure, I'll plug some stuff. I got some new stuff to plug, but mainly, you can always just check me out at patreon.com/videodrew. Video Drew is also my social network handles and all this other fun stuff that people do. I also have a podcast network called Content Candy, like content, like the stuff you consume with your eyeballs, and candy, like the stuff you consume with your mouth. And we say it's nom nom for your ears. I have a couple of shows on there, but most importantly, I think it's that I started a new job as a managing editor of a website that's a spinoff of Daily Dot. It's called Passion Fruit, and it's for creators. So people who have podcasts and YouTube channels, and it's going to be like a resource hub and a really cool place. So I'm getting that off the ground, and I'm really excited about it.
What a cool idea.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We're
New
creators,
plugs.
Dave. We should
Exactly.
check that
Yeah.
out.
I was going to say.
We're like gods. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to interview you. I'm going to hit you guys up for an interview at some point, if that's cool.
Sure.
Yes,
I've never been interviewed.
As long as you put in the interview that we are like gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We are essentially Jehovah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely quote you guys more than the actual Bible, so that's fine.
That's good. Well, we have a lot more to offer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I need to do an anti-plug, which is to say, just for people, just a little business. We just watched next Monday, and we won't have a Hypecast next Friday. We're going to be taking a week off from those because I will be out of town. That's all. Just telling people now where people can hear us. So if we're not, like our regular other, like our pre-recorded stuff, because we pre-record, will be around. But
don't tell them that, Dave. No, they know.
Right, I'm ruining the illusion.
Yeah.
But if people are wondering, where's Hypecast next week? First of all, weird voice you got.
Yeah, why do you talk like that? What do you?
And second of all, we'll be back the next week. It's fine.
So what do you guys talk? Good.
Oh, I was just gonna say all of our viewers who are Jinx the cat.
Yeah.
It's Hypecast this week.
It sounds like you're like like an anime dub, like when they do the English dubs of anime shows, and you're like, oh, who did they get to do this voice? No.
I want to do an anime dub.
Yeah. No.
That sounds so much fun.
We actually went to one for Demon Slayer in the theaters, and like the one who's doing the pig guy was so grating to me. He was like Pig Cartman that I actually had to leave the theater and come back at a different showing where it was so...
My goodness.
Picturing that voice coming out of that character is pretty great.
And being a voice actor that's failed.
That's exactly what he sounded like.
So much that someone has to leave.
Hey, Pigman, I'm strong and key.
No, that is exactly what he sounded like. Oh my god, triggering.
Well, we got trailers to talk about, but first we got some producers to thank.
All right.
So let's do that. Big thank you to the lubed up ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank
always.
you. Mm.
Thank you to At Nerd Numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank
you to Aaron Burser. Thank you to AJ. Thank you to Andrew Howe. Deck the halls with blood.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Thank you to Barry Tumeth. Barry Tumeth wants you to go to the gym and drink water. Oh, and Sky's life. Love you all.
Pick it up.
And thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank you. Let me jump in here. Thank you to Bootler Bootlesson.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brian, whom Tom knows.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brockway Loves the Meat Millie.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Ooh, thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire.
Thanks.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Always.
Thank you to Davey, the ghost of East Las Vegas Francis.
Thank you.
And lastly, thank you to David Knife Boot Hinson.
Knife boot.
Knife Boot.
Knife boot.
All right.
All right.
Knife
trailers.
in the boot, within the boot.
Yep. Within, put the knife.
Tuck your knife
put it
into
in
the boot and let's
yeah.
slap your fucking eyeballs onto some trailers.
Starting with The Marvels. This is I guess a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's technically the
with
sequel
Mrs.
to Captain
Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the Marvels.
And-
of the
the
MCU.
Marvels.
Of the Marvels. The MCU
In
Marvels.
the Marvel.
Of the Cincinnati
Yeah.
Marvels?
Just imagine.
What do you guys think?
Okay, so for good, I'm thinking very good. I like this more than I think I did any of them individually. Any of these three characters, Miss Marvel, Maria Rambeau, and
Correct, yeah.
and the Captain Marvel. I don't think I liked. I mean, I really like Miss Marvel, but I don't think I really dug these other two as much as like I do the collective idea of all three of them together. I don't know. Something about it seemed like kind of charming.
Right.
The actress who's Miss Marvel, Iman, forget her last name, but her reaction to the cat was
Perfect.
so freaking
So good.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need that made me want to watch. I haven't watched the show. I haven't watched Miss Marvel. But
Oh, it's
looking
good.
at this trailer made me want to watch it.
Yeah. Marvel for me is kind of like Star Wars, which we'll be getting to, which is it's now my like if I'm on a plane thing where it's like I'll pick up a Marvel show,
It's become the Minions for me, honestly, where it's like I just kind of tune it out unless something really sticks out. And
Right.
to say that this trailer does stick out to me and I want to see it. This looks like fun.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna say I liked that first Miss Marvel movie. It's all superhero stuff. They go pew pew, they fight at the end. They're in space, which is just I don't know. It feels like they're always in space now. But like going back to the '90s, it was charming. It was fun. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think I'll enjoy this for what it is too.
Yeah.
Like everything's a joke, and I think that's fine because I don't know if I can handle them acting like something serious anymore. Anyway,
No, and like Captain Marvel's indestructible anyway. So
right.
Well,
So it might as well have fun. It's like Thor.
What I really like about this though is adding Iman Vellani, that's her name. Iman Vellani, I hope I'm pronouncing it.
Aman Vellani.
Yeah, as Miss Marvel, because the show is really good, but more importantly, it's her energy. Like the idea of adding in like a new character who is just that excited to like meet all these people. Like it's like a different POV, right? That's almost like a fresh eyes kind of thing.
Yeah, she's new Spider-Man.
Yeah,
They
she
did
knew
that with Spider-Man.
exactly.
And yeah, she does look like she's doing a great job in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, my question is, does this take place where in the timeline of the Secret Invasion thing that's coming up? Does that take place?
fucking knows, Drew.
Because like,
I could not tell you.
How does she know who Nick Fury is? Like Nick Fury is supposed
she
to be...
meets him earlier in the trailer.
No,
when
but
she switches places with Monica Rambeau outside this and she
Right.
like bounces up against the side of the spaceship in her spacesuit. She says, "Hi, Nick Fury!" Like she's really excited to see Nick Fury.
Right,
so
but
I
how'd
think
she
that
know?
scene.
How does she know who that is?
Oh, that's a good point.
That is a good point because
Isn't he supposed
I
to
don't
be like the
think
king of
cares.
secret agents? No, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
Dead.
the movie is treating it like he's just one of the Avengers and everybody knows who he is.
I think he's supposed to be dead, though. I mean, there's just like so many questions I have about this because, like, also like Captain, I just don't understand how she idolizes. So in the show, it's like pretty clear that she's like a super fan of a bunch of Avengers, but most importantly, Captain Marvel. But like, how does she also know who Miss Captain Marvel is? Because Captain Marvel was only on World for like the end of Endgame, like, and only then on like the compound of like Stark compound. Like, she's not famous, I don't think, in the world of the MCU.
Marvel can retcon so much and sort of like
Yeah.
that's the thing is that like I've just stopped. It's one of those things where it's like I've stopped caring about plot holes to some extent where I'm just like it's all one big plot hole at this point. There's so many things that
Right.
It's there's a giant robot baby sticking out of the earth that no one has discussed or talked about in any way.
That's weird.
It just doesn't matter. It's a cartoon,
The answer is she knows who Nick Fury is because we know who Nick Fury is. Like, and that's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I think we're like 30 movies deep.
Yeah. It's just funny, yeah, I guess because she's like a teenager who's obsessed
No,
with like
you're right.
Ant-Man
You're right.
and-
It doesn't
yeah.
make any sense that she would know who he is. And it would just make any sense that she would know who Captain Marvel is. Yeah.
Yep. But I really do like it. I think my biggest issue with Marvel is that they have a multiverse, or they have multiple multiverses, right? A multi-omniverse, where multiverses work in different ways.
Yeah, they have whatever they need.
Yeah. So like the TVA thing from Loki doesn't really work with like the Watcher from the What If episodes, which doesn't match like the Quantumania thing, which doesn't match like any of the other versions of time travel or like messing with timelines that we've been introduced to.
Drew, you're right.
Yeah.
But like,
it doesn't make sense.
It's funny is that like I felt this back at Cracked because, Cracked was a place where we picked apart plot holes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have fun with something like Star Trek, which tries really hard to take its world seriously. And I remember just losing steam with Marvel because it was like, they don't care. Like, why should I care?
Pointing out the plot hole is, to me anyway, and the way we used to do it at Cracked is only fun when it's like a thing that you're not thinking about. And we've brought it up a lot recently. But like Jason's observation that in Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason absolutely Jason Voorhees. Okay, let me back up.
yeah, I was about to be like, what?
Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason Pargin's observation that Jason Voorhees has to be riding crazy old Henry's stolen bike. I think his name is Henry. Mm-hmm. In order to get from because there's locations are so far apart in the film and you see him show up within moments to different locations. The only explanation is that he's riding the bicycle of this guy he killed. Right. So that's when that's where the juice is. Like that's where the good stuff is, where you can like take a plot hole and extrapolate something really funny from it.
Well, here's my theory.
To me anyway.
Jason Parge's middle name, it's Voorhees.
No way.
No, I am lying. I am making that up. No, but like if Marvel made that movie, they'd show him on the bike and point out how funny it was,
right?
And everything's a joke.
Well, here's my
at all times, and like that just gets grating. But it also hurt with job security. Whereas, like, come on, Marvel, try so we can make fun of you.
Right? Because the only other plot hole to point out. I'm sorry, Drew. Just real quick. The only other plot hole to point out would just be when something just flat out is broken or doesn't make sense, and that's when you're like critiquing the movie. It's not fun to point those things out. You're just like, this movie's bad. So whereas you can have fun with those other ones. Anyway, sorry.
So here's what I think is like, I'm kind of like almost like a Marvel optimist in a way where I'm like, these are all so these are so like antithetical to one another. All the different ways that they have very quickly introduced multiple multiverses. Like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness came right after the other kind of multiverse that Doctor Strange introduced himself to, where he opened it up for No Way Home. And it's like, this has to be a reason. Like, it's not like people are not there's somebody in charge of this, right? Like, there's that guy. So like, clearly there's like a purpose behind introducing multiple multiverses that don't interact or like work the same way. Well, so like maybe
that is very optimistic. I'm the opposite, which is that it depresses me because what it means to me, in my opinion, is that Marvel realized that audiences largely don't care about consistency anymore. Like where it's all fandom. And it's all just I want my character on there. I want them to say the things and wink at us and be fun. That like it's a bummer that like a movie can just be gibberish now and they don't have to really worry about it. That bums me out. It just bums me out that they realized that. Like it feels like they just don't care.
It feels
because they don't need to care.
But then you can do that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just that's it.
I feel like. But like, okay, so DC can do this, right? Like there's the Bizarro universes, but also every DC movie is kind of like a standalone and they have their own versions of like how they get to the Crisis of Infinite Earths. And I guess that's what I mean is like, this seems like it's leading somewhere, like the Loki thing and every single like story now has its own version of how a multiverse operates. Like
I hope it leads somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they destroy all the timelines basically and start fresh. Like they have to.
They sure as fuck need to. They need to do something with this multiverse shit. Because that's the thing is it hasn't gone anywhere. Has it?
No.
Like the way Thanos built to something. This like I know they're trying with Kang now, but it's taken so long and it's just a big messy thing now that I don't know. It's whatever. Like if people enjoy it, they enjoy it. I don't.
I will say
like that's.
I'm looking forward to Loki season 2. It's by the guys who directed and I believe wrote or showrun most of it. It's it's
I'll be right there for
Moorhead,
that.
Right?
Yeah, it's Moorhead and Benson.
I'll be right fucking there for that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Loki. Like, that's the thing. I enjoy things from this universe, like, independently. It's just like I kind of have to shut out the rest of the world in Marvel to enjoy those things. But it's so insistent on trying to connect everything that it's hard,
I just realized Peter Parker, like Spider-Man, in the world of Spider-Man, there's like 3 different versions of how a multiverse works. Because you have like the multiverse from No Way Home, you have the multiverse from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Like these are already like 2 very vastly different ideas of like what's going on.
Sometimes people look exactly the same. Sometimes they look completely different. Sometimes they're different ages. Peter Parker is 3 different ages.
3 different guys.
Like how, it doesn't. Again, it's whatever they want it to be because they just want to do the thing that the fans like. That's it. And I don't think there's. It would be amazing if they tied it all together. I would be really impressed, but I just not getting that vibe. But this looks fun.
This
looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. This looks. I don't know. It's a fun little world to be in. We haven't been in it much, so it's kind of exciting for that reason. And it looks like it's kind of like it's self-contained, or rather, it's very focused. And I don't know.
It's got the Kree thing. I mean, I hope the Kree come back. Is that what they're called? Like the Skrulls, bad guys. Like I want Jude Law back in this. I really liked him in Captain Marvel.
And that ending was so funny, where he's like, "You have to beat me to prove it." She just punches him into a fucking mountain.
I love that.
That was fun.
That was so good. Yeah, no, I really do hope that like that's because like the Skrull thing is obviously becoming an issue, and that's gonna be Secret Invasion. But like, I really hope. I love Ben Mendelsohn in this project. I think he's like playing out of type or out of character, where he's just like a good guy who's kind of a weird alien. Love that for him. But
I want Bendelson. God, Bendelson would make me so happy.
He's in it.
In this, yeah. Is
Mm-hmm.
he in the trailer? Did I miss Bendelson?
Well, he's the Skrull he's like the main Skrull.
He's
been
definitely
Yeah,
in
he better
Secret
be in
Invasion. I don't know if he's in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't keep teasing Bendelson. Let's talk about this Star War. Ahsoka? Is that it looks, I don't know, looks fine.
Yeah,
I'm a few shows behind. I hear what's it called is very good.
it's okay. Oh, Andor. Andor's incredible. Andor's incredible.
Yeah.
No, that's the best thing. That's the best Star Wars that they've
I'm
they've
gonna
come
watch
up.
Andor soon.
Go through the first episodes. It's kind of like, I feel like the first 2 are kind of like, they're good, but they're not great. And then you get to this 3-episode arc in the middle that is just some of the best television. Look, I don't watch the Clone Wars. I don't watch the cartoons or like the Bad Batch or anything. So like when I watch this Ahsoka trailer, I'm like, oh, I guess it's some guys and some new people.
Star Wars, it's funny, has been generally killing it for TV shows. I would argue the Obi-Wan show was not good.
This new Mandalorian season.
People seem to like it.
I didn't watch it. We're entering the phase of Star Wars that I have no nostalgia for. So all these projects like, I mean, obviously I like Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I didn't watch the Obi-Wan show. And then like...
Didn't miss much.
This one where it's like she's Ahsoka is a character from the Clone Wars cartoon. Like I have no nostalgia for the prequels because I was an adult when I saw them and I recognized that they were all bad.
Yep.
Right.
So I had this talk recently.
I do not care about the current slate of Star Wars.
The weird retconning of like the prequels being good because people now just have to react because like,
you were a kid when you saw it. Like because all these things are like Star Wars. A lot of it right now, and Marvel. I mentioned this on the Super Mario Brothers we just watched. It's all flashcards. All they're doing is showing up pictures of things you liked and having you recognize them and applaud and move on, and that's it.
It's
but is this doing that?
Yes. This is all from the Clone Wars. So like when you see every single character, it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's from the Clone Wars, and everyone's like, ah! And then the guy that's like the big bad on that, he's from I believe the Clone Wars. He's like the
Thrawn.
Thrawn's
a big bad.
And
I like to be like Thrawn has returned, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Who the fuck that is.
I think it's funny when a Jedi says something bad is coming, and I'm like, something bad is always coming. Your world is chaos.
Yeah.
You've never had a moment of peace.
Right,
of course something bad
But in
is
this
coming.
case, when they say something bad is coming, it is specifically Ray Stevenson with force powers, and that is bad. That's bad for everyone.
Wait, I don't think isn't Thrawn isn't he being played by Lars Mikkelsen?
He is, but there's another the big bearded guy that you saw do all the fucked up Jedi shit in the trailer. That's Ray Stevenson.
Is he?
I think he's like Thrawn's stickman or something. I don't know.
Is
But
he? Is he the one that like was Ahsoka's assistant or like her Padawan who was like, he's got a weird name like Lucas or something, and he like went away for a while and they're trying to find him. I don't know, man. Like
maybe I didn't. Like I said, I didn't watch the cartoon. I just recognized Ray Stevenson as an evil Jedi in this trailer.
See, not having watched the cartoon, this all feels new to me, and I don't know. I guess I'm the optimist on this one because, like, again, most of the time the TV show has been good, like their TV content in general. So for that reason, I'm like, I have no reason to think this will be bad. I statistically speaking, this will probably be good. I know that's not how it works,
I think I'm just exhausted with. Because every single TV show has been remember this character, like it's all been flashcards.
Except for
generally
Andor.
Exhausted.
Except for Andor.
Andor is still like a character from a movie that we all recognize, and it's still like, hey, remember A New Hope? This is this story. Like it's
Wait, which one? Which character from A New Hope? Oh, Mon Mothma?
And Andor was in
Rogue One.
Rogue One,
right?
Which is a prequel to A New Hope.
Oh, I got you.
So
yeah, but I mean,
it's still like flashcards for the original trilogy. So it's like, my God, can we like The Mandalorian was the most exciting thing for me because it was a new cast of characters until it wasn't. So it's like, man, can we just do something that's not like, hey, remember this?
I mean, that's why I thought like Andor was so good because it basically didn't have any aliens or droids. There was like one of each, and like it really didn't have that much to do with like, I forgot that it was before A New Hope because that's how Rogue One works. I haven't really seen all of Rogue One. I know I need to, but like this, everyone was different. Like it's just a whole new world, and they're mostly humans, and it's all political. It's like just a political psychodrama.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
Andor.
I need to watch it.
Yeah,
Andor.
I got to see Andor. I think the thing is, I don't know. 90% of what Disney does now is cannibalizing itself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just its own thing, or it's Marvel, and Marvel. You know, I'm pretty sick of it. I haven't. Like I said, I didn't watch Andor, but I need to. Because I heard it was very good, but that's kind of where I've been with this stuff, where it's like I'm just generally exhausted by it. But if you're into Star Wars, I would still say this is probably going to be very good. You know, like if you still have that energy to consume all the goddamn Star Wars in the world, you know, again, I think they tend to nail it for the TV shows. I think there's something about Star Wars. It's weird because, you know, the original movies were good, but there's something about the TV format and Star Wars that they seem to have figured out, like the pacing and groove of. Again, for the most part.
Maybe.
I would argue the Obi-Wan series was kind of a problem.
This new Mandalorian season is a hot mess. It is.
Oh no! Really?
Jack Black and Lizzo are married, and Christopher Lloyd.
I'm into that.
Yeah, you'd think so. But Christopher Lloyd is the guy on the planet who is. The whole thing is just a mess. It's just a mess. It's like a hot mess. Some of it's like fun, some of it's good, but like there's no plot. Like there's actually they have no plot this season. It's just side quests, and there's no overarching. Momentum.
See, I like that.
See, that's kind of what I liked about Mando was that it was just like a procedural. Like it was, you know, like every week was kind of like a new case.
Right, it was like Star Trek.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yes, and Grogu is very cute. It's just like this has an aimlessness to it where it's just like feels like where are they going with it? But that being said, I think that there's some things that just lend themselves better to TV projects, if only because different people can take over different slices of the universe. And it's not like the movies, like where they have to feel like they're one cohesive like vision. So they take the directors that they got and sideline them. Like the TV,
there's a quaintness to it that works towards in their favor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they've realized that, but I think it works really well that way.
Yeah, I mean, look, I really like the MCU TV shows, like that whole generation of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. At that first season of Jessica Jones, baller.
I fucking love those. Those are my favorite Marvel content. Period. That's the one thing I should say about Marvel that I'm still charged up about is the new Daredevil stuff. Mm-hmm. Like that, I am right there. I am ready to go.
Yeah, he's really good.
You know, it's removed. That's the thing. Is it's like. Obviously now they're shoving it in there, but I liked that it was, again, quaint, smaller scale. And I really liked the Hawkeye show, too. Like, TV tends to, when it scales it down and focuses on the characters, it's just, I can breathe a little more, and I enjoy it.
Well, the characters can breathe. Like, the characters have, like,
It's a better story, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're two trailers in.
Let's keep going.
let's talk about this A24 horror movie. Talk to Me. I just want to know. Okay, trailers. We all know the that all the horror trailers are doing it now. You can stop. We know you're doing it. You can stop doing it.
It's the slowed down pop song of 2023.
Yeah, we're done with that.
It's the new camera noise shutter like wind up sound from horror movies last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Texas Chainsaw thing.
Yeah.
We're all set with that. That has nothing to do with the quality of this film, which appears to be flatliners but demons.
Yeah.
Also Ouija.
It's got a bit of Ouija in it.
Because that's like Ouija is literally flatliners with demons.
Ouija Origin of Evil is actually not bad.
It's a good movie because it's Mike Flanagan.
That's a good movie, yeah.
But
this could be a good movie. I see no reason to think I mean, it's hard to tell with this trailer, but A24 tends to be good about this.
Yeah. I know you guys are saying it like the uptick because you guys don't like Ari Aster, but I have tickets for IMAX. Beau is Afraid tomorrow. I'm going to go see with Lon.
Enjoy your
I'm just
3.5 hours in the theater.
It's 3 hours, and it's his Jewish Lord of the Rings, and I am very looking forward to it. That's what he calls it. I think it's... Guys,
okay, so all right. Well, now I need to see it. Okay, now I'll see it. I'm
gonna see it. I like Hereditary. I'm a fan of that movie.
It's very scary.
I thought What's It Called was funny.
Midsummer. It is. It's supposed to be. That's the thing. It's a comedy. People don't realize that.
It is.
It is. It is a comedy. I laughed.
I disagree. I think Midsummer is trying to be scary.
Not the third act he's like come out and said is like a dark comedy. It is supposed to be played for laughs, but it's like an uncomfortable laugh. And his short films, which is what got him Hereditary, is they're great. They're like really, really good. And you can see why someone like him would have just gotten Toni Collette for their debut feature and gotten A24 interested. That being said, this movie, did you guys realize it was Australia until you saw that dead kangaroo?
I know, it was gross. I was like, ew, Australians. No, they we get a lot of Australian listeners, I believe. So hello. And I'm sorry. Yeah, the kangaroo, I realized what an unsettling thing to see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
But if you're in Australia, that's like seeing a pigeon. You know what I mean? Where they're just everywhere there.
I mean,
I want to note that speaking of them being Australian, both directors of this worked on The Babadook.
Good.
Not anything. They were like in the electrical department and stuff, but they seem to have, ties to what's her name, Jennifer Kent.
Jennifer Kent.
That's the
and so that alone makes me go, all right. Well, now she's amazing.
Now I'm more interested. This trailer didn't do anything for me.
Oh,
like this trailer for me was
for me.
extremely derivative. Like the premise, every shot we see in the trailer, it's just like stuff that I've seen in every other Flatliners / Ouija type movie. But maybe.
I mean, I also was really buoyed by Pearl. Like, I didn't love X that much, but I really loved Pearl. Like,
I thought X was fine, but Pearl rules.
I haven't seen Pearl yet.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch Pearl.
It's true, the movie.
See Pearl because X was like when they were like, we're making like an X cinematic universe. I was like, fucking why? And I'll see Pearl. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I made Ty West cry once, basically, while while freaking him out from when we were driving home once trying to find my friend's place in Eagle Rock, and we got very lost, and it was really late at night, very scary, and I just kind of was like freaking out about it. I like to think there's parts of Pearl that were inspired by his experience with me. Like, that's how I have to think about it.
Drew, let me tell you, I can see it.
Yeah, right?
There's a few scenes in Pearl where I'm
no
like,
spoilers.
now that I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, that could be true.
No spoilers.
I want you guys to know one of the writers of this movie did a bunch of Australian kids shows.
Oh, that makes sense.
Doodles, creator of Doodles, whatever that fucking is.
I've heard of Doodles.
Doodles, yeah.
Oh, okay. Bluey, executive producer of Bluey. I've actually heard of Bluey. Yep. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this. The plot is whatever, but I do think there's certain elements like the stupid hand. I think is really cool. I was like, oh, what a cool little device, like this little hand statue. I think this might be visually very good. It's also 90 minutes, and I appreciate that.
That's good, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I think it looks good. Plot aside, I think this person might be, like that shot, that like reverse shot of the blurry face when she's talking to, like that looks fucking creepy. So I don't know. I think there's something here.
Hard to tell. It's hard to tell. You know, like
Even
the
that-
Dungeons. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say the Dungeons and Dragons trailer really sucked, and that movie turned out to be awesome. So like, it's
Yeah,
really
that was
hard
a
to tell.
delight.
I didn't think the trailer sucked. It was very Marvel, which I was happy
Yes.
to when we saw D&D that it was not Marvel.
Yeah, I think
I mean, it was similar, but it wasn't exactly that tone.
I think you guys nailed it, like in the podcast, but also like, you know, Lon's reaction to the trailer was like very much like, oh, it's one of these. Well, this happened. Like,
Yeah.
well, you know, like that was the
I'm
first
glad-
trailer, and I wasn't sold until I realized it was Game Night Guys, and I was like, oh, it's probably just a bad edit of a trailer.
Yeah. They just wanted to edit it to look like a Marvel movie.
Now,
But what I was going to say was I forgot.
oh,
Okay.
well,
What were we talking about?
we're talking about this
We're
monkey's
talking about
paw.
the trailer and the hand.
The
and
hand.
It visually
Oh,
looking
right.
good.
Yes,
I think you're.
the shot where she sees her dead mother and she's not quite in focus. That's Tigers Are Not Afraid.
You're right. Ooh.
I was thinking this is like the new Evil Dead, which I actually don't want to see because it looks too scary. Like that new
I'm
Evil
so fucking
I'm
excited
so-
for the new
It's
Evil
too
Dead.
scary
For that,
looking.
yeah. But
I'll be honest.
I
That's
had
a film they understand the assignment where they're like, okay, let's be fucked
It's
up.
I
too
had that-
scary.
I had that feeling with the original remake, the
Yeah.
Fede Alvarez one, where I saw the trailer. I was like, I don't fucking know if I'm going to see this movie. It
Yeah.
looks intense
Yeah.
as shit.
And guess
I
what?
gotta
It's
say,
all through.
I rewatched that original remake and like, it's funny because of this is the most obvious thing. It's good. It's no Sam Raimi Evil Dead, which like fucking of course it's not.
course it's not.
But like it is better than I had remembered. It's so hard, man.
It's so hardcore.
They're making an Evil Dead remake, and it's like you'll never be Evil Dead.
Well, they're not
but
trying to.
You're coming damn close, and they're having a lot of fun. I'm.
Do you know that
I'm
movie-
generally psyched?
Do you know that Evil Dead remake used the most amount of fake blood in any movie ever? Which is like pretty
Oh, yeah.
hard to do because The Shining had gallons. It like The Shining made a town go red with like fucking
I think-
food dye.
I appreciate how
even-
they torture their actors to make
Yeah.
that, because that's Evil Dead right there.
Even beyond The Shining, I think Dead Alive / Brain Dead had that record for a while.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, so
Peter
this-
Jackson one.
So he didn't go out to be like, I'm going to be Sam Raimi. He came out to be like, Fede Alvarez was like, I'm going to put more blood in a movie than anyone's
Right.
ever put in a movie before.
See,
because like
the,
what's
the blood?
Oh.
I was gonna say I don't care about the blood. What gets it for me is stuff like the nail gun.
Oh, God, I can't.
And like where they're like, we're gonna stick the knife and twist it in these very awful ways. Which to me, that's like, yeah, you get it.
Well, it really
Yeah,
sets the
yeah.
tone. It really sets the tone that like it's a different kind of movie because it's like, no, this is about a brother and sister, and one of whom is a junkie, and it's like, whoa, what? And you're like, yeah, it's one of those kind of movies.
They also play a good game of like a shell game of who's gonna be Ash.
Yeah.
Which the first Evil Dead does that, whether or not you'd realize it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Lou Taylor Pucci in that. He's the one who taught me that if you run out of blood, you should drink water with sugar in it, like your what's his name from
Oh,
Men in
yeah.
Black. That's how I always
Yeah.
know. Drink water with sugar if you lose too much blood. Thank you, movie.
Tom, you had something.
Sorry.
Yes, I was going to say that the Evil Dead remake, and it looks like this new one too, sort of lean into that idea where the blood and gore, but not just the blood and gore. It's the how can we twist the knife in a
Yeah.
way
Yes.
that's like devilishly clever.
Children.
Whereas the cheese grater.
Oh God.
I'm so excited. They're not the first people to do that, but boy, it looks like it's going to be great.
man. Whereas the original Evil Dead is less about the gore because of their limited budget. Even there's a ton of gore in the Sam Raimi Evil Dead. It's more about how he shoots it in the weird ass kinetic.
Right. It's like
way.
they know not to do that. Also,
Yeah.
I like that they're being serious.
Yeah.
The first Evil Dead obviously was serious, but I'm
incredibly
glad
serious,
they're not. I'm glad they're leaning into that. We should talk about a trailer that's on our list, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
because-
sorry.
No. I mean, that is coming out. There are trailers for that too, so this is relevant.
Yeah.
This is
Let's
all
keep moving.
hype.
Let's
Yeah.
keep moving.
But we got several more trailers, including Fool's Paradise.
Oh,
This is
yes.
directed by, written by, and starring Charlie Day.
Yes.
It's about like like I don't know when it takes place. It seems to be like a silent film actor. It's about a guy who's like in a mental institution, and very funny bit where they're like, yeah, we have no budget, so we're just throwing him on the streets, and then he's confused for an actor, and he seems to be like filling in for that actor and becomes famous. It just feels very like 70s to 90s in terms of the premise.
Oh no, I think it's supposed to take place now, but it's supposed to harken
no,
back
I
to
mean-
Charlie Chaplin. Yeah.
I mean the
It's
type of
it's
movie.
extremely Charlie Chaplin. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing
Yes.
a tramp.
But I mean the type of movie, like the seeing this movie, like I feel like modern comedy. We've had sort of an issue with modern comedy, right?
Oh yeah.
Where it's all just sort of like, I feel like there's like 20 comedies of just let's go on a vacation. Like they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's they're all mafia mamas.
Right. They're all actually Mafia Mamas looks great to me.
Yeah,
but-
that and the Jennifer Lawrence one where she's screwing a kid to get a used car.
That is one of the worst trailers I have ever seen in my life.
But you know
That
what?
shit's wild.
Props to her.
Comedy has been in a there's been a bit of an issue with comedy lately.
Yep.
And this made me go like, oh fuck yes. Because this feels like something like Being There. Like this feels like a movie that they haven't made them like this. And it's got a killer cast.
I'm so glad that there's an ensemble comedy that's not like a David O. Russell movie or like, you know, like this just feels like, like everyone got together. Ken Jeong already tweeted like, this is the most like exciting like thing I've ever done with my career. It's the most fun I've ever had, like shooting something. And you're like, take that, Todd Phillips.
It looks... Did we say what the movie was? Where it's Charlie Day it's like a guy who can't speak, but he's not exactly deaf or mute.
Yeah. So he's like, basically, he's Charlie Chaplin's tramp character, which is like perfect for him because I love Charlie Day and I love his voice and I think it's so weird and funny. And like, I can't wait to see Super Mario, which I haven't seen yet. But like, I think Charlie Day without the voice is kind of like more, probably like just shows off a bigger range. Because once you hear his voice, it's so noticeable.
He's a great visual actor.
Believe it or not, he did Chaplin in, what was it? It was either Friends with Benefits or
Friends with
No
Benefits.
Strings Attached. There were two comedies that came out at the same time there was one that had Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis.
That's one's Friends with Benefits because they're not friends. And then the one with Ashton's, No Strings Attached with Ashton and Natalie Portman.
Oh wait, and then I'm thinking of a third one, which is Justin Long and Drew Barrymore called Going the Distance.
See, this is the problem with comedies.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Right here.
This is why Game Night is the only good movie that's comedy that's come out in the past 20 years.
Yeah, correct. That's why it's Game Night. So it is Going the Distance. Charlie Day is a supporting character in that movie, and there's a Halloween party or a costume party, and he dresses up as Charlie Chaplin and does a whole thing as Charlie Chaplin in that movie.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you can just tell this movie is going to be. The moment I saw it, I just got so happy because, this spoke to me like.
This looks fucking great.
It looks great.
Did we say he gets swept up into the movie industry? Did we say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, we did. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh.
And the cast, it's got Jason Bateman,
Jason
Ann
Sudeikis.
It's got Ray Liotta, Adrian Brody, fucking Kate Beckinsale, John Malkovich,
Edie Falco.
Apparently Dean Norris, Eddie Falco, Jimmy Simpson in there, Glenn Howerton, Common. It's just my fucking God. And it almost looks Coen Brothers-esque in that everybody's doing like a kind of a character that's very unique. This is just one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch my 10th Charlie Day film.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, okay, let's keep going. This looks already just from the trailer.
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it, but like Charlie Day is like one of the least problematic men I can like think of. So like his vision of like what he wants to do here is like brilliant. I will watch anything where he just shuts up and like does some physical comedy and lets everyone else sort of act around him. He's obviously really good. And I just think that he's always been one of my favorite like people that have been in the, like sort of on the sidelines of stardom without ever making it. So give it to him.
He's very, very funny.
Yes.
So.
And him as a director,
I'm excited.
That clicked. That clicked in my brain.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Give it all. All right, let's talk about this next trailer. Muppets Mayhem. This is
man.
What's his name? Dr. Teeth.
Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
And the Electric Mayhem. This is like a behind the music for that. I just hope it's Lords of Chaos. I hope Animal blows his brains out and Dr. Teeth takes a picture for his album cover.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Lots of heroin.
Can I ask you guys a question? Like, are those all musicians? I don't know. This is the problem with this kind of thing.
There's a good deal of musician cameos in the trailer, yeah.
I couldn't tell who was a musician and who was an actor. Like, is the main girl like a main woman that's a human?
I did not. So the premise is that Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, they're doing like a VH1 special where all these different artists are talking about how much of an influence that band was, but then they reveal, they never actually recorded an album. So then the movie portion starts where there's this record company agent who is trying to get Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem to finally record an album. So that's the character you're speaking of. I do not recognize that
I
actress.
thought it was AOC.
Yeah.
I literally thought it was AOC.
It could be. Here's the thing. Well, first of all, it's a TV show. But second of all, if the Muppets calls you, you pick up.
Oh
right?
boy, you
like,
pick up.
They could have anybody they want. It's like Scorsese.
Well, and
it's like being a Muppets film. It's like absolutely yes.
And we mentioned earlier that Jack Black and Lizzo were on The Mandalorian. It's the same thing with Mandalorian and Star Wars TV shows because they're shooting in like fucking I don't know Redondo Beach or some shit. Like it's just like right there in LA. You don't have to go that far. It's a day of shooting and you get to be in a Star Wars. And it's the same thing with Muppets. It's like, hey, we're filming in LA. You drive a little bit. We shoot for 1 or 2 days. You get to be in the Muppets. Like, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at who is in the Muppets currently. Do you know Dave Coulier is in the Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem? Like, as the musical group, he is one of them. Yeah, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
What? I mean...
He always did puppet shit.
Yeah. Honestly, the most surprising person to show up in this is Kevin Smith. Where I was just like, what the fuck are you doing in this, Kevin Smith?
Great gag, too.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you. Happy to see you. Not complaining. Weird that you're in this.
Wait, guys. I have a weird fact about them that's like apparently true. This is on Wikipedia. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem made their debut in 1975's The Muppet Show, Sex and Violence. The pilot for The Muppet Show was called Muppet Show, Sex and Violence.
About that sex and violence.
Oh yeah, if you watch the old Muppet Show episodes, have you ever watched them?
Yes, recently.
Okay. Yeah, they're a little. Listeners might not realize the Muppet Show started out a little more for adults.
It was like an SNL. Like it was like their late night variety show, and they did these little skits behind the scenes. A lot of them, I know that they were good because as a kid I would watch them and be like, I don't get it, and my parents would be like, when you're older. Like the whole dynamic between Miss Piggy and Kermit is like a very, I feel like progressive 21st century. I just can't wait for the commentary that's like, oh, they made the Muppets woke, and it's like, no, that was just always Miss Piggy. Hi, yeah.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah,
that'll happen. Then someone will make an anti-woke puppet show.
Meet the Feebles.
Can't wait for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Meet the Feebles. Oh, that's a movie. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on Muppet Mayhem?
No, it looks like fun.
It does. It does look like fun. Well, let's talk about this next one, The Mother. This is with J-Lo.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a mother. It's kind of Long Kiss Goodnight without the amnesia. She gives her daughter away because she's like a murder person.
She's a John Wick.
Yeah, that's the word for it, not murder person.
Murder person is also
acceptable.
And years later, her daughter's in danger. She has to pick her up. It looks fun. There's a lot of like mother-daughter shit where the daughter doesn't know her. And that, honestly, looks like they're going to be doing bits. That'll be fun.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Dave?
What is it?
It is part of the new J-Lo CU, which is, it is Second Chance. Starts with Second Chance, the movie where she's trying to become famous, but she's working at a grocery store, right? Then we have Marry Me, where she's a famous singer, and Owen Wilson like is holding up a sign that says "Marry Me," and then she does this like stunt wedding to like stay relevant. Then there's Shotgun Wedding, the next one where she is getting married to low-key Oliphant, what's his name? Josh Duhamel.
Duhamel, yeah.
And during her wedding, people attack, and she has to get a gun, and she becomes good at guns. And now this movie picks up a couple like years after that, where they've had a kid, and she's like, she's now gone rogue as like she's been burn noticed or whatever by the FBI, and now she's gonna go and try to full circle not be famous anymore. She has to go undercover.
Okay.
So this is J-Lo CU. I wrote it down.
Probably works. Where does Money Train fit into it?
Oh, I don't know.
It holds the whole thing together.
Where does Made in Manhattan fit into it?
Where does Gigi fit into it?
What about The Cell?
Gigli?
Well, I mean, The Cell is obvious. She's in the FBI in that one, so that's obviously between Shotgun Wedding and Mother.
Oh, that's fair.
True.
Yeah,
Accurate.
This is, I don't know. There's a lot of action going on these days. This kind of will fall through the cracks for me, probably, because it's like going to Netflix. Who knows if I'll actually see this. A couple episodes ago, I talked about the unironic ski fight. This has unironic snowmobile gunfight. And so I'm just happy to see action tropes done unironically.
Yeah.
Like dumb 90s ones. So that alone makes me go, yes, go movie.
And I think Oh, sorry, Drew.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say I think J-Lo is a good pick for a John Wick type movie. Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's a good Pedro Pascal. Like she's like it almost seems like this is like her Pedro Pascal like mom to like
it's a little
his
bit
daddy.
Amanda,
Yeah.
a little bit of like Lone
She-
Wolf and Lone Wolf
She also
and
just-
Cub.
Yeah.
She just generally makes good movies for the most part. Like whenever I see a movie with her in it, I tend to like that movie. Mind you, I haven't seen that many, but like, fucking The Cell. I like The Cell.
I love The Cell.
Anaconda.
I like Out of
Anaconda's
Sight.
great.
Anaconda.
You know
yeah.
what? I think that I would watch a movie that was directed by Ben Affleck and starring her. This almost has that kind of vibe. It's too much of an action movie to be a Ben Affleck directed film, but like
Right.
if he'd decide to make the next Argo or the next Air and have it star his wife, I'd watch it. Like if they made Jiggly like remade it like next year, I'd watch it.
Has she had a chance to like really do an acting type role? Because I feel like she hasn't, but I also
Out of sight.
She
Out of
it's
sight.
hard to. Yeah, I mean she's very good in that.
didn't she get a? Oh no, wait, or did she not? And that was like a controversy. I thought she
Hustlers?
had gotten a nomination for Hustlers.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Written
I
by
haven't seen Hustlers.
directed by Bo Burnham's wife, or girlfriend, fiance, something like that. That's who made that movie.
Okay, this movie is the director of of Whale Rider.
What?
Yeah,
No.
and the Zookeeper's Wife.
In the,
Yeah, she's done like I don't think she's done action, which also makes me excited.
well, she did
'cause,
Mulan. She did the new Mulan, didn't she?
Oh shit, you're right. I didn't even see that. Okay, good for her.
Whale Rider's a crazy movie.
I haven't seen
I
it.
haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Do they ride whales?
Nope. Not really.
Fuck. Okay, never mind then.
To follow up, she got a lot of attention and a lot of different critics nominations and awards, but did not get any attention from the Academy for
Got it.
Hustlers.
I still need to see it, but that makes me want to watch it more. Look, I think the Whale Rider thing almost doesn't sell me on it because I didn't actually love it. When I say it's crazy, what I mean is it's almost like Taika Waititi without the jokes. It's not very fun. It's very much a drama, but I'm not a drama person.
Well, that's 2002.
Yeah.
It's an old movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mulan wasn't. I mean, I like that they
I liked
hired her.
Mulan. I completely forgot it existed, but I liked it.
I think that it's cool because I like the idea that it's also like Hannah, like that movie.
Yeah.
I love Hannah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I like the girl and her blank, her parental figure off in the woods somewhere. It kind of seems like she's like, J-Lo's like doing that Key and Peele sketch where she's off in the woods and they like bring her back for like one last thing,
Right.
like she's
And
been
he keeps
burned.
accidentally killing the general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
My big.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, I like Gabriel Garcia Bernal and I like that it's Peter Stormare looks like as the two bad guys.
Joseph Fiennes, actually.
No!
But yes, yeah. But
Same
I was
difference.
gonna say the two villains, Joseph Fiennes and Gail Garcia Bernal, are that's pretty good picks for villains. I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
What did
Here's my one note for this is I feel like I've seen this premise like 50 times,
It's like trope.
Sure. Yeah,
or some
sure.
variation.
It's a trope.
She's
But,
Sarah
you know.
Connor. She's literally Sarah Connor in this. She's just like,
But it's everything. It's
like,
you're
who
living in a
cares?
cabin
Yeah.
in the snowy woods. It's that stuff. Exactly. Who cares? That doesn't mean it won't be good. It's just that it's a hard. What it is to me is like it's hard to make a movie like this, even if it's good, and then have it like stand out.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it has to be in action, like because like earlier we pointed out that the Talk to Me trailer is just a bunch of horror tropes, and we kind of
Right.
treated that as a negative thing, whereas in an action movie like this, we're like, well, who cares? And that's because an action movie really depends more on how it's executed. Well, I mean, horror movies do too, but like as long as like the stunts are cool and the action is cool and like well choreographed and well staged and it doesn't look like shit and it's not all digital, it's like then it's
not an exact science.
this is
Right.
this is a minor.
Yeah.
Neither is horror, but I think
it's like-
also just more of a horror snob. I see through that
Sure,
stuff
but
a
I feel
lot
like
easier.
I feel like the story is more important in horror. At least the mood and narrative
You're
is
right.
more important. Whereas the story to an action movie, for the most part, to me, in order to succeed as an action movie, it really just needs to be like the storyline to a wrestling match. Because as long as
Right.
what's happening in the ring is cool, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what?
because also,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, go on.
I was gonna say that. Well, this I think what Hypecast truly is, we're like dissecting how good the trailer like story is.
For sure.
Like,
That's true, yeah.
And those are always made by somebody else. Like the person who directed the movie they did not direct the trailer, and trailer directing is its own art form. Like I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
I always wonder if we need like a standing disclaimer about the show. Nothing we say really does reflect whether or not these movies will be good. Usually, like it's a show stuff like Marvel and stuff where we sort of know the patterns and stuff. But movies like this, it's always hard to tell, you know?
They front load so much. Go ahead.
I feel like we verbalize that like caveat a lot.
All the time. All the fucking time, I think. Yeah.
I think it matters to this one because they front load so much at the beginning of this trailer that I literally was like, is this a sequel to something? They're like, you know how you've been burned by the FBI, but you have this kid, and remember that husband, and like you went to the mafia, and now we can't protect you. And I was like, I'm sorry, like, who is she? Like, I thought that this was literally a sequel to something that I had not seen before or like had heard about. But like, but the thing is, they didn't need any of that because, like you said, it's a trope. They didn't need to include any of that information. Just show her like showing up with a kid. We don't need to know that like, you were part of the FBI and tortured people, but now you don't do that anymore. But we can't protect. Like, there's no need for any of that information in like an initial trailer. Just show us the action.
Yeah, I hope it's good. You know what I haven't seen before?
What's that?
Drops of God.
Oh my God.
I am so into this.
Yeah, this is based off a manga, so it is it's funny because it feels like it's based off a manga. Does that make sense? Where it's such a weird premise that I'm like, of course. It's like Wine Fight. It's a woman fighting for her right to own her deceased father's wine collection.
The $1 billion
and she's like fighting
wine.
against another wine snob, and it's just a wine off where they have to like taste the wine and like know, and it's so silly and I love it.
It's like a Succession but with wine, but also there might be like a supernatural element. I mean, I know a lot of anime. There's some very famous animes where it's just like literally cooking competitions.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get a supernatural bent from it. All I got from it, it appears that it's two proteges of some like expert sommelier or something, and they're sort of pitting them against each other. It's this, I think, French lady and this Japanese man.
Well, it's the daughter. It's his daughter and then like a Japanese guy and his protege.
I think it's like wine Sherlock Holmes, and they're visualizing it where it's like when she smells the wine, she goes into like they do this thing where she like goes into another world,
which is very
and
anime.
I don't think that's supernatural. I think it's like internal. Yeah, it's this is coming on Apple TV.
It looks great. It looks great.
It seems it
does look great. It looks really intense. Like it looks like a good thriller.
Yeah.
Right. I might dust off the old Apple TV for this one because I'm like, fuck, man. I haven't seen anything like this before.
And
you know,
it's really cool to visualize manga and anime stuff. A subject I'm going to talk about as if I'm an expert, when really I thought anime was so dorky until like last year when I got into Pokemon. And then
it's still Drew. It's still dorky as hell.
I don't know, man. Like now I get it because I'm like I watched Attack on Titan. I'm reading the manga of Attack on Titan, and I'm just like, hell yeah, like, no, these are adult themes. This is like the Andor of like anime. And there is like this trope that I don't really love in anime, which like their obsession of showcasing people like eating and like going to like transcendental, almost like horny places with food, where it's like, oh, like, yeah, their nose starts to bleed and everything flies off.
Anime is horny?
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, yeah.
Food horny.
That.
The food horny, which is my favorite kind.
Yeah, no. Anime, the thing is, it's always something I haven't seen before. That's why I like it, and that's maybe because I don't watch that much. But whenever I do, it's just so fucking creative, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure if you're into the genre, you'll probably be less impressed with certain things that I'm impressed with.
But it's cool to see it visualized, like live action style. Like, that's really cool to watch how they would visualize what I'm sure, like, I can almost picture it in the manga. It was just like, yeah, like that. I guess you're right. Not supernatural, but sort of like a, what do you call it? Like the postmodern magical realism kind of thing, where it's just like they're transported in some way. And there probably will be this, like, element of, like, their worlds, their, like, internal worlds interacting or having some sort of fight near the end. And I think that's very cool. But like seeing it done live action does make it seem like, oh, wow, what is this show? It's really cool.
This and Fool's Paradise I'm most excited for. Drops of God, Fool's Paradise. If you're going to watch any trailers from this podcast, those two are the ones that stick out to me.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not done with trailers.
We're not. We
have
got one more. We
folks.
got one more.
I almost didn't put this on.
One more
I
beef squatch to lay on this thing.
Yeah, I almost didn't include the new Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer, where I do believe he's going to go back in time to the older films, is what it looks like to me.
Are you sure?
The dial is a time traveling device, is it not?
Oh
That's
shit!
what
I don't think I've seen the new. I don't think I've watched this newest trailer, assuming that I had watched it already. Oh no.
Okay, they're so
yes.
the funniest line is when Mad says what does he say, like Hitler got some stuff wrong. And I'm like, did he now? But he's like a Nazi.
You see,
He's like a better
Mads
Nazi.
Mikkelsen is playing a Nazi in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
So-
It's just a funny statement.
And
Right,
a better,
That's all.
a Nazi that's
Hitler
better
got
than
some
most.
things wrong.
Nazi that's better than Ben Shapiro or like a lot
Yeah.
of people that are on the modern right. I liked in the last trailer anyway. I really liked when he shows up and he's wearing a pilot's outfit and he's like, "Fasten your seatbelts" or something, like Mads Mikkelsen is. And I'm like, oh, did
yeah.
he change into a little outfit so he could become like,
Damn right he did.
yeah, I love that.
But I'm getting vibes. I'm getting let's pour on the nostalgia vibes.
Oh, you think?
From this, I'm really, because the dial, they're basically like, they were going to go back in time and make the Nazis win again. That's the idea. So it's like, great. So it's just so stagnant. Like, we didn't need the last Indiana Jones before this, and we certainly don't need this one.
So
I firmly believe this is one where it's like, just leave it the fuck alone. But since they're making a new one, they're gonna bravely do nothing new with it. I believe.
Oh, I don't
from
know.
This.
If that's really the concept of this, like the idea of like what this implies. So bear with me here. If he's going back in time and he's running into the old Indiana Jones, and that's why we have the de-aged Indy and all these trailers, implies that like Indiana Jones, he has to then hide from himself, so he doesn't know that he met himself,
Yes,
which implies
I
like a
think
time crimes.
They're gonna
like,
Endgame. It's Endgame.
Well,
It's
no.
Endgame or Back to the Future 2.
Or time crimes, where you have to convince your former self that it didn't see what it saw, and that's the only way you can make time travel work. Is like if you convince
If he
yourself,
goes back in time and kills his younger self, then I'm into it.
or like you have to shift the perspective. So you thought like almost like 12 Monkeys. So you thought you saw one thing when you were a kid, but like when it actually plays out, like you realize that you tricked yourself, or like there was some sort of Yeah, I really like that concept, and I like Fleabag. I'm not gonna lie, I really like Fleabag.
I like Fleabag.
Sure. I don't think this is going to be that. I think this is the director of Logan, right? Writer-director?
It's James
Yeah,
Mangold.
James Mangold.
Yeah. He, just going off of Logan, has a very good talent of repackaging something we've already seen before in a way that people feel excited for, just based off Logan.
Well, he also did
I would argue.
Wolverine, so maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he also did like 3:10 to Yuma and Walk the... Like, he's done good movies.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
That's
yeah.
true.
I
I would rather him go back and do those movies or do like original movies, because this feels, I'm just getting that vibe of nostalgic victory lap. You know what I mean?
I'm into it. James Mangold, we did on my Ultra Cinema Bias, we did a Mangolden Age of Cinema, where we went over all his movie. We also did the John Patrick Shanley Sance, but yeah, specifically with Mangold, I mean, he also did Night and Day. He did Kate and Leopold. He did Girl Interrupted. Like, he's done
he
so
does
much.
good things, and he does things that I don't like as well. And so, like, I'm just, in terms of which one this is going to be, I just, this gives me icky vibes in general.
Dave, bad news. He's doing a Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done with Star Wars too for this reason. It's like Terminator Genesis. You know what I mean? It's giving you those vibes where it's like, we're going to go back and relive the moments because that's what you want.
That's what you wanted to see.
Yeah, and people are going to fucking love it.
Oh,
They're
we're
going to
pandering.
fucking love when he goes back and he has to the
It
ball
turns
will
out,
go after him again.
It
or
turns
like
out he's the one that ransacked the ladies' room in Last Crusade.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're gonna. It's gonna be that shit, and everybody's gonna slop it up and love it.
Slop it up.
And I just can't stand it.
Tom, that's called doing a time crimes. That's a time crimes. When you
Time
really,
crimes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Look,
movie.
if this ends with Indiana Jones going to time jail, then I will be singing a different tune.
Time
You know?
prison, and then
have you
going
guys
to
not seen Time
going
Crimes?
going to the time gas chamber.
Oh no, this is the title of a movie. I'm referencing not like the concept of a time crime, but like literally the movie. It's a Mexican movie called Time Crimes by Nacho Vigalondo. You guys have to see it if you haven't seen it. It's
right,
really
I will.
good. Yeah, that I'm referencing like the trope of that film, not an actual time crime.
I would love him to do a predestination if we're doing time travel movies and like become his own grandfather.
Oh my god,
that would also be fun.
That Predestination. I called that movie within the first 5 minutes, and it's the proudest I've ever been of picking up like a storyline before it happens.
That's pretty good.
Sarah Snook.
Yeah, this
It's a pretty good movie, and now Sarah Snook has blown up.
Yep. Dramaturgically.
Yes. Not like in an explosion.
Right.
Physically, though, she's pregnant, so, like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That is a body explosion. Listen, maybe this will be good. I'm just very cynical about it. It just feels like it's...
No, there's no reason to be excited for it. Like,
yeah, it's doing all the stuff.
Like I feel like I'm already like I liked Crystal Skull, but I feel like I already have to like. Yes, but you're illustrating my point. I liked Crystal Skull, but I feel like I already have to make so many like conditional statements. Like, okay, I get that it's like not very good, and I get that this scene is bad, and this scene is bad, and this scene is bad, but I still enjoyed it. So like asking me to do that again.
Right.
15 years later is a tall task.
Yeah, but like
that's not even a Spielberg film. Like, I don't know.
It's not even a Spielberg film, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's always the off chance we get Kei Kwan in it if they're going back in time, right? And like they seem tight lately.
It feels like they are gonna like desperately do reshoots after the Oscars to cram them in. Yeah, but again, that's what it is to me. Is that it's like we just want to please the fans. Everything like.
It's the same fans too. It's the same as Star Wars. It's the same age.
I was about to say it's the George Lucas versus J.J. Abrams like dilemma, which is do we want the original creator to make it and possibly disappoint us, or do we want a new person to make it? The problem is the new person is also a fan, and it's just a fan.
It's just
film,
gonna
right?
It's just gonna be flashcards.
That's why I love The Last Jedi. Yeah. Or
and that's why the answer is maybe just let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Original IP, like the game night of it all. Like just make a new thing. Just make a new comedy. Just make a new thing. You don't need it. Not everything needs to be part of a fucking IP. I don't get it.
It bums me out that
they're
like
risk averse. They will only greenlight products that have some sort of brand recognition.
That's so weird. Like
it just bums me out that like we used to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Like in my 20s, it wasn't like we were still like, no, don't make more. Don't make a sequel. It was that question. Now it's like, of course there'll be a sequel. Of course they'll make more. And now we have to debate that. And it's like, it just still goes back to that thing of like, will this be good? Will it won't? Who should make it? The answer is they never should make it. 90% of the time.
I'd argue
that this to me is one where I'm like, I don't know why this exists.
I'd argue there's a little bit of a difference between like the expanded universe concept and the nostalgia core concept, right? Because like I love the idea that something like John Wick or Dungeons and Dragons can now expand into a TV show or like a streaming series that takes place in the world but doesn't exactly deal with that main story. I like the idea of like a world expansion project. Even though it's been kind of tainted by the Marvel and Star Wars stuff of it all, I do think that like the idea of it is very cool. Like the Moorhead and Benson have done that with like Resolution, their first movie, and The Endless are like companion films with the same characters, but you wouldn't realize it unless you're like watching very closely. And they have like a whole Google Doc of just like their own expanded universe of weird indie shit. And like, more people should do that. Like Flanagan kind of does that, I feel like a little bit, or like Brian Murphy maybe
more of a meta way, but
yeah. But like, I love that. I wish that would happen more. Like, I don't know. When I was
that was the promise of Star Wars, and they just haven't done it.
Yeah. When I was into high school, it was like this year, right? There was this year. There was like the Royal Tenenbaums, Mulholland Drive, or it was like 2-year period. Amelie, like all these movies came out, and it felt like we were like getting something exciting and new. Maybe that's my nostalgia. Like porn is like just the idea of like all these original things that were happening in like 2001, 2002. Like even like, being John Malkovich or like Eternal Sunshine or all these movies that felt so wholly unique in the world that they were giving us. Like this was just one person's worldview and they were so, the memento of it all. And it's just kind of lame how everything's now been flattened.
I think those movies are still coming out. It's just, I think those movies are still coming out.
Yeah, now they're Tenet.
Well, no, I mean, now they're Skinamarink on Shudder. Like it's just where we see them, I think, is different.
I maintain that movies are good and get better, and like especially indie films. Like we're getting a lot of great films. This just doesn't feel like one of them to me. This is like, I don't know, fucking if they made a 80-year-old Keanu Reeves doing John Wick, and he goes back in time to like help himself.
You mean
in old
Bill and
films.
Ted?
It's just like, what are we
That's
even
Bill and
doing?
Ted movie?
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea too that I agree with you, Dave. I'm pretty, again, optimistic about this just because I also think the idea of what I hate this word content, but like what a story is can like be malleable and move to like a streaming series that isn't quite a show and not quite a movie. It's like 3 episodes long or something. Like we've almost adopted this very British sort of like way of like thinking about things, which, you know, some things are just contained within a movie and then like a 5-episode run. It's like the Fargo TV show or something. And they're so good.
Just, if it's going in theaters, and maybe this will change, right now they still have to put in bet big because there's no home video market. And so like it's just, for me, the cynicism, the exhaustion is about blockbusters, the movies that have to make billions of dollars worldwide, or they don't get made.
Yeah.
And this feels like one of them where it's like, it's just going to be very safe. It's going to be very packed full of nostalgia. It's going to be just catering to every whim of the fans. And I don't know why we're doing it. Well, I know why we're doing it, but it's not for something that interests me, I guess.
You just bummed me out because now I just thought, well, the new equivalent is that like Netflix and Apple and all these streaming series and platforms are also trending in that direction, and that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I guess. I think they'll always have that ability to do like weird stuff.
Yeah, Severance will always be a thing on Apple TV, but like, you know, so will Ted Lasso, and Netflix is going to cut all their animation, but like maybe you'll get like 1 or 2 cool shows out of it. Like the platforms are now kind of becoming homogenized as well in a way that's bummer.
Yeah. Bumcast. Welcome to Bummercast, everybody.
Bumcast!
See, this is why I didn't want to include Indiana Jones, because I was like, what the fuck is the point?
And
we could have
and then
ended
yet
on
you
Wine
did.
Fight.
And
We
then
could have
yet you
ended
did.
on Wine Fight.
We could have ended on Wine Fight.
Yeah.
So let's end on this note, Dave, and let's maybe go into some news stories.
Yes, but let's first thank some producers, starting with Deborah is awesome, Barbara is great, and cancer can go to hell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula the bus driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Driftless wrote Mabel's name in The Witch's Book of Blood.
Thank you.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Evil Ed 209.
Thank you.
Thank you to Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J Mostly Comes Out at Night, Mostly.
Thank you.
Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory.
Thank you.
Thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls.
Thank you so
very
much. All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to Ombre Says, Mabel, Step on Me.
Yes.
Thank you to ImpossibleWorlds.net, the new quarterly anthology featuring works from creators like Michael Swaim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to James Cameron's Prolapse Locomotive.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chris Shanovich.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Mom on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's Confusingly Large Dick Chill.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thank you.
Thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Thank you.
Thank you to No One Can Hear You Scream and Space McNulty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's swoop into these stories, Dave.
Stories. We can do this one pretty quick. Eli Roth's Thanksgiving film.
Yeah.
It's got a November release date. I didn't even know that was getting made. I'm into it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I have a reason why not. Because, like, I don't know.
Should be on the poster.
He will either do the thing of, like, a commentary on, like, the Pilgrim stuff and, like, our colonialism history. Oh, sorry, that's my dogs. Or he won't do that. And I don't know. I feel like either way, it's a trap. Like, either it's a commentary film or it's not.
I'm not a huge Eli Roth fan, but he's not hurting anybody, so unless he is. But like, this seems like a fun project for him.
But it's based on his Grindhouse thing, right?
It's his Grindhouse trailer.
100%. Yeah, and so I think he should just have fun. I don't think it needs to be about anything. I hope it's not. I hope it's just stupid.
I can't imagine it would be.
Yeah, you're right. Not with Eli Roth, but it feels like there's going to be a lot of blowback for it not being that, like not having a, because elevated horror and blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like if anyone wants to watch a Thanksgiving movie, they want to watch like an A24 movie about like, again, like critics, like, or dorks like me. They want to watch something that's a commentary on like the horrors of what colonialism was. They don't want Eli Roth to just be going around like stabbing people.
He always comes close to saying something and never quite does.
Well,
Inferno,
I would argue he doesn't have good things to say.
Nope.
Usually, because a weird pattern I noticed in this film is they all start with the premise of a group of quote unquote normal, usually white guys.
Otherism,
It's otherism.
Yeah, going to a place, either the South or another country, with weirdos, and then the weirdos actually being weirdos. And that's the whole thing, is like, don't travel. That's his theme.
Except
and
for
it's weird.
Except for Well, I know Cabin Fever had like some weird like
Cabin
locals.
Fever, the South.
I know.
It's don't go to the weird South. There's a bunch of weirdos there.
To be fair, he's right. It's about the water. It's about the water being bad, and like, you know, don't go to the South because you'll get infected with like a bacterial disease that's going to make you your sins slough. And it really.
I do have to put my foot down. Cabin Fever is about the implosion of the group.
Yes, exactly.
The hillbillies are almost incidental in
Absolutely.
Cabin
Fever. Right.
That's my
point. But it
point.
is funny that that movie is about, as you're saying, oh, if you go there, don't drink the water. Like, that's the most touristy thing to say.
That movie put me in the hospital once. I got to tell you, I wrote this. That is the only film to have ever put me in the hospital, because I was having an allergic reaction when I first saw it, like a skin allergy, and watching that movie made me freak out. And when you freak out, your histamine levels go up. And so I was like literally having a closed throat. My skin had breaking out these giant welts, and I was like oozing, and I was just watching this movie, and it's causing this chain reaction. And so when I told him this, we did like a panel together once. He was like, you know, that's based on something that happened to me, because he'd grown up in the Netherlands, and he got some bacterial skin infection, had tried to shave, and like his skin and his jaw just came off.
And he put it in the movie. I like that movie, by the way. That's the thing is, I don't know if he's intentionally doing that in his movies. It's just a weird pattern that keeps arising that I'm like, what's going on here, Eli Roth?
Yeah.
You're not a traveling type, are you?
Nope.
Thanksgiving. Speaking of horror, the Scream 6 directors, who also did what did they call themselves, something funny?
Radio Silence.
Ready or Not. Radio Silence. Did Radio Not. They're doing a Universal monster movie. I speculated Dracula based on this article, but you seem to have other views, Drew.
Well, we just have Dracula on a ship that's just got announced today. We have Renfield.
The Demeter, that's actually been it's been in production for a while.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a Dracula. We have some other Universal things to touch, though. We just did a Mummy recently. I know Wolfman already has someone attached to it, so maybe it's not Wolfman, because Gosling's in that with I think the director of Blue Valentine, but maybe it's like a Invisible Man, Frankenstein. Who do we got left in the Universal horror?
Well, we did Invisible Man, and we nailed Invisible Man.
Yes.
I honestly, this makes me happy, because the Scream movies have been like, meh. And I think they're very good directors, Radio Silence. I really like Ready or Not. And I like their work in the Scream movies. I don't think that's I think it's just...
Right, I think the movies are bad, but...
I think the Scream 6 was really good. I've just really had a different take on Scream 6, but like I really liked it.
Right.
And I mean, Ready or Not was clearly the high watermark of like what they've done. So maybe not an existing IP is what I'd say for them. Like again,
but even the Universal Monsters, it's an existing IP, but it's kind of
it's
one
not
where
much
it's like,
of one. Yeah, like,
they're not beholden to anything. It's not like
with Invisible Man, Lee Winnell just took that basic idea of an invisible criminal and just made a completely original movie out of it.
Yeah, that's
Universal
true.
took a big risk on that, and it paid off, which is why I'm like, I like where their head's at probably right now, where they're like, you want to do something fucking weird with it? Do something weird with it.
So it's not going to be it's not going to be part of like the Tom Cruise Mummy universe with Russell Crowe.
The dark universe.
I really like when a company does something like this, where they just, like Hasbro, weirdly enough, with the Ouija movie, where they realized, oh, we should actually do something artistic or original, and not just the same shit. I feel like Hasbro did it also with Bumblebee, where they get burned or they are just like out of steam with that shit, and they're like, okay, let's just do something interesting.
Well, it's the Andor, it's Loki. It's like the idea that you get so burned out on like this IP that finally somebody does something. You're like, yes, okay. Like the first Ouija movie sucked, and then the second one was amazing.
Universal Monsters feels like that too, where they took it, they tried, they were like, let's be Marvel, and then immediately they were like, never mind, let's not be Marvel, let's just
Turns
do
out
something.
that was a
let's
terrible idea.
Right.
I do.
Who would have thought to make your horror series horror movies?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing now, and I appreciate that.
I think that I think that there's going to be some crossover between. I just personally believe there's going to be some crossover between this Wolfman Gosling movie and whatever this might be. Just based on a hunch. But I think that would be cool. I wouldn't mind if there was like some dark universe stuff. Just like maybe, again, like give it to some indie directors, give it to these guys, like let them play in it and like have it each be a different director and like, the crossover of crossing it over would be like a cooler kind of Marvel where it's like a mashup of two different like indie people that you like.
Yeah. I'm excited for their next original thing, but I'm also just... I like seeing them do different projects, so I've been,
You're going to be waiting a while.
Radio Silence.
I think.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Probably. They're clearly having fun doing this stuff, but...
Yeah, they've got a couple things.
Yeah. All right, final news story. We have to address that HBO Max is now just Max. Because HBO, that was the brand that they were like, we got to get rid of HBO. You know how
did you see
when people see the words HBO.
Did you see the boneheaded quote? I forget who it was from. It might have been from Zaslav, David Zaslav, who's the new head of HBO. But somebody was like trying to justify it by saying, well, the HBO brand like intimidates casual fans who associate HBO with like prestige, like high tier television. So we're getting rid of that. And it's motherfucker, like, the casual fan associates HBO with being the Game of Thrones channel. Like, they're talking about how
it's
HBO
like
becoming Max.
shows.
Right. It's just like, they're like, well, we're just going to roll all of our existing HBO Max subscribers into Max. And it's like, well, HBO was too intimidating for casual fans. So now we've made Max with more of a focus on reality unscripted, read garbage television. And it's like, dude, I am an HBO Max subscriber because it was grandfathered in from when I subscribed to HBO. Mm-hmm. Right. And I subscribed to HBO because I wanted to subscribe to HBO.
Look, man, I think the thing is, like, you remember the Matrix that he came out with that got leaked after Discovery bought Warner Brothers, and it was like, women like to lean forward, men like, or lean back, and like, or lean forward and men like to lean back, women like this. And it was like, oh, this guy does not get content. Or he thinks like, it's almost like he's like he's like an archetype. Zaslav is like an archetype of like someone who just thinks like there's too much pretentious shit on TV. Like how Discovery ever bought Warner Brothers and HBO? Like where did that fucking thing come from? Like I remember.
Oh no.
I was gonna say I remember editing a piece when that merger happened, when they merged with Warner Brothers, and going like without looking it up, just telling the writer that they were wrong and they must have gotten their facts incorrect because there's no way that Discovery, like the Ice Trucker or whatever shows, that channel could not have bought Warner Brothers and HBO. You must have got it reversed. They must be merging into like Warner Brothers and not vice versa. And I looked into it after I got some pushback on the piece, and I was like, oh no, you're right. That just doesn't make any fucking sense. And Zavlov's first like orders of business have been to make the stupidest decisions I've ever seen. Like, okay, so like DC is at least, go ahead.
It's an Elon Musk situation where I'm like, did you buy it because you hate HBO secretly? Or do you simply don't understand fundamentally what it is and how to sell it? Because it seems like you hate money.
Well, not just HBO.
We did some more news about this merger, and I remember a bunch of weird shit coming out of it where it's like, what, like fucking.
There was a Gremlins 2 episode,
he
right?
Needs to be. They need to like literally grab him and eject him from the building. Like they need to stop this person.
Oh my god!
Because he is driving this into the ground, and it's amazing.
Not just this; it's DC. How like DC is populist. Like how is he ruining DC by cutting that Batgirl? Like he's just making all the worst decisions. You know the one thing that he has bought. Money. Yeah, they hate money. You know the one thing he has purchased, like as a, like, you know, like they've acquired under his ruling, like his direct supervision, was a movie starring Robert De Niro, written by the guy who wrote the script for Goodfellas, and is his next door neighbor in the Hamptons. And you're like, oh yeah, you have the finger on the pulse of what's going to make a blockbuster film. Yeah. Jesus
it's just
Christ.
A very rich person with absolutely no idea what people want.
He's like the My Pillow guy.
Well, he comes from reality shows and unscripted, and that's cheap and it makes money. So that's like his whole business model is let's steer towards unscripted because it's cheap and it makes money.
And fine.
What a bummer.
And fine, but that's not what HBO is, and that's never been the model of HBO. And the fact that it's now offering this Max thing as if like the most premium membership level lets you watch in 4K on various different things, which is already, what the current platform lets you do. Like it's just offering you the same thing, But, like, I guess without the bumper trailers for the new HBO shows, which is, like, part of the reason why I watch HBO. Like, God damn it. Right. God damn it.
It's so weird because you'd think he'd at least understand numbers. You know, he'd, like, would be like, oh, Game of Thrones, one of the biggest shows ever. Surely we should think about that, right? Like, you'd think he'd at least understand those things.
You know,
and now, of course, they're doing the Harry Potter series.
They keep chasing Harry Potter, and it's like,
oh my
is
God.
Harry Potter unscripted? Like, are you fucking stupid?
It's weird. It seems more conservative. Like, it's almost like it's a conservative idea more than just reality thing. It's like I feel like he's just like some weird, My Pillow dude. I don't know why I think that, but like it feels like that.
It's so weird. Like when HBO Max launched, the app was janky as hell. It remains janky, but it's more functional than it was when it launched. But like I still put up with it and was excited to subscribe with it because like Warner Brothers has such a deep fucking library of great movies, all the Looney Tunes cartoons, like, and they had Studio Ghibli on there. Like, there was so much stuff on HBO Max. Like, it was really cool.
They started getting rid of it.
The first thing this motherfucker does is start deleting shit from it to save money on taxes and residuals. Like,
because that's what he is.
Crazy.
He's like Gordon Gekko. Like, he just bought it to like scrap it for parts. But like, why? If this isn't making money, like it is like Elon and Twitter, it's like, if this isn't making enough money for you, like as is, like why sell it for parts? Why just not buy it in the first place? Like why
one of those, it's a very clear sign that we need, like this country needs better laws when it comes to letting wealthy people just sort of play with things. Like it's the same with Elon buying Twitter, which is like this thing that people need and like that like journalists depend on, this thing that has like HBO that has a lot of like a huge library and stuff that people care about, and just having like some rich person who has no connection to it buy it and then like start fucking with it.
Well, it's
like with Elon,
that's so weird.
With Elon and a lot of these other deals, I don't know if the HBO Max deal was the same, but like Toys R Us is another famous example. When a big company buys it, they then get to saddle all the debt they
that's what it
accrued onto that new purchase.
And then they go, well, look at all the debt we have. We better start.
How is this legal? How is this legal?
They put the company into debt and then strip it for parts and quote the debt as the reason. That's what Elon did with Twitter as well.
It's hilarious because Elon doing that with Twitter, he's like, it's worth half of like what it was worth before. And it's like, no, motherfucker, it's worth half of what you paid for it. Like, that's not the same thing as what, like, and I see, like, journalists, like, falling for this all the time and, like, putting it in the headline. Like, Twitter is halved in value because it's like, oh, yay, look, he's ruining it. No, motherfuckers, that's, like, playing into that's what he wants. It wasn't ever worth that much to begin with. It didn't have in value. Like, he just paid too much money for it.
With Warner Brothers, it's not it's not like a coincidence that there's been like 3 movies out where Warner Brothers is explicitly the villain. The Matrix, the new Matrix film, calls out Warner Brothers as a villain.
Yep.
The new Space Jam, like it's because of this shit, where it's like these writers and these directors like basically screaming at people like, we need help over here. This place sucks.
Look, I think that also, like, I'm not sure. Does Zaslav buy this out? Like, is he the king of Discovery? Or is he just, like, I thought he was just, like, a guy who they bring in and he's really good at, like, throwing the axe, like, giving the axe to things.
My nickname is the King of Discovery.
He's definitely not the person who he's definitely not the person who purchased it. He's just who they put in charge. But I believe he was running Discovery before this.
So I'm saying this isn't like Elon buying Twitter in the sense that this isn't like some megalomaniac like idea of anything, but like his decisions are so stupid.
Yeah, it's the same like business strategy, and then it's putting a guy in charge who just like knows how one thing works and believes that it applies to all areas of entertainment.
Well, and at this point, it feels like they're trolling us. Like the 2 biggest HBO series right now have like non-binary leads, but you're gonna remake Harry Potter and have her be the executive producer like J.K. Rowling? Like, don't fucking do that.
The producer. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Like, just don't do that. Like, you don't have to do that. No one's going to force you to do that. You can also make something new in the Harry Potter universe that didn't have to be a remake of the original films. Who's asking for that?
They're barely 10 years old since the last one.
Well, also, like, are they going to incorporate
12 years ago.
Are they going to incorporate the other J.K. Rowling changes that she's like, you know, sort of like retroactively put in? Is it going to be like a Black Hermione and like a gay Dumbledore and like all these other things that she's like said about, you know, about the series since its release? And then if so, gross. let's not do that. Let's not give her any more fucking airspace.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's baffling what they're doing over there. It's a real shame. I hope. I mean, again, this is a case for physical media as well. Like buy the shows, buy the shows. Do it now. I know you're technically giving them more money that way, but in the long run, you don't have to.
You're preserving it, and like it's man, because they just obliterate these things. Yeah,
get Shudder, get Criterion. Like, go pay for the things that like deserve like your money, because AMC is like literally on the verge of cutting Shudder, and like that's the best. I think that's the best streaming network that they already have. Great. Yeah,
I love Shudder. Well. Let's move on. We're done with stories. We can thank some more producers. Big old sloppy thank you to Norm from Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Pete Forpagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silicol Volcanoconiosis Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to pre-order TikTok superstar Jason Pargin's new book, Zoe's Too Drunk for This Dystopia. Pre-orders are super important.
Thank you.
Thank you to RevMD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you.
Ricky.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Snapper Carr Punches God in the Dick.
Thank you.
To Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist. Thank you to Steven.
Thank you.
Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So convenient, so easy. Let me swoop in here. Thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thank you to the To Be Terror Bunny says, thank you for watching Dead Heat.
You're welcome.
We sure did. We sure did. Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chucks.
Thank you.
Thank you to Vincent with a Y.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Why Don't You Take a Flying Fuck at the Moon?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Your Mom.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you to Zzz, because Pie Guy liked being last.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I can show you guys that clip. It's really good.
Oh, full circle. Full circle.
Oh, man. Speaking of full circle, Dave, we've come to the end of it. The end of the road,
Yes.
as the boys to men like to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I demand to know whether you have brought a movie that perhaps deserves some more hype.
You know, I do. I did. And I am.
You magnificent bastard.
I am brought movie deserves hype. And that movie is called Hundreds of Beavers.
Yes.
It is exactly what it sounds like, sort of. This is out of Wisconsin. It's a Wisconsin production. An indie, a surprisingly low budget. The reviews seem to be surprised by that. It's set in the 19th century. Mm-hmm. It's about a salesman, an Applejack salesman.
Oh yeah.
Who is drunk, and his forest where he gets his product from is being attacked by an army of beavers who are trying to build the biggest dam, and it is about this drunken salesman waging a war with the beavers. The catch. There are no animals in this movie. It's all people dressed in mascot outfits.
It looks so good. It looks like
there's a Looney Tunes cartoon.
And, it sure does.
And they're comparing it to like Adult Swim and Looney Tunes. It looks like, to me, it's a Guy Madden film. This is just the Wisconsin version of Winnipeg. Right. You know?
To quote Slash Film, hundreds of beavers exist at the crossroads of Looney Tunes, Benny Hill, Cannibal the Musical, Blazing Saddles, and Adult Swim mindsets. If that kind of calibrates it in your head of like, okay, I know exactly what they're talking about here. It looks fucking weird as shit.
It reminds me of that movie you guys watched recently and did a review on that was like the film that had like a million stories within it. Like the narrative structure was like
Forbidden
really...
Room.
Yeah, it sounded like I was just trying to imagine it. I was like, this kind of sounds like that other movie.
Yeah, it looks a little more... So it's like shot in black and white. A lot of the reviews call out the cinematography specifically, which is interesting. Again, it's very low budget, but multiple reviews are like, you'd never know it. It's not that long, but they're saying that one of this reviews, this film threat says, even at the 80-minute mark, I was bewildered as to why the movie wasn't ending in a conspicuous spot in an obvious way. That's because Obvious takes the holiday and the epic third act, where the concept spirals higher and higher in outlandish ways that will ignite the audience. Basically, like, the review is like, I thought I was gonna be. This is nearly 2-hour movie, and I thought, like, that's too long, and yet it still managed to, like, hold up, and that's kind of amazing about it.
Great also use of the term spiral and then up. Like, you never hear about spiraling up. You only hear about spiraling down. The idea of something spiraling up is, like, very cool. It kind of reminds me, like, you know, right after we did our Skinamarink episode, Dave, I think it was right after, they announced The Backrooms as being, like, another movie that's being picked up. And it's like, that's so cool to me because that is what I was talking about on that episode. Oh, yeah. It is, like, literally...
I'm honestly surprised they hadn't made a Backrooms movie years ago.
Well, specifically, it's the Backrooms movie by the kid who's been making all those great Backrooms, like, YouTube series. Yes. And he's 15 or something. Like, he's 15 years old. And he's been making awesome shit for, like, years now and kind of just, like, under the radar because he's 15. But, like, yeah, let's give movies to this weirdo bunch of, like, very much online, you know, indie kids who can, like, you know, make something out of nothing with very low budget. Give it to them, not Zack Snyder.
Yeah. And this feels like comedy Skinamarink in a way.
Yes.
It's less surreal, but if you watch the trailer, it's like black and white grainy. It's in the woods, but it's very much like, again, Looney Tunes. It's very silly. God, it looks really fun.
It looks like what they'd be watching in Skinamarink.
Yes.
Kind of,
and
yeah.
If you're wondering when it'll come out, it's doing festival circuits right now. It's getting a lot of, like, attention there. I'm sure it'll get picked up.
It'll get picked up by Amazon or Netflix or Shudder or something.
Shudder.
Yeah.
Shudder,
or
probably.
Adult Swim, you know, they did over the Christmas thing, they did Casper Kelly's movie. It was the first full-length movie they've ever put out. I think it's called Yule Log. Wasn't a huge fan, but, like, yay, Adult Swim putting out full-length movies. Like, do more of that. Like,
they should pick this up, yeah.
Yeah. Give it to Wham City people. Yeah.
No, hundreds of beavers.
Super fucking into this trailer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It looks so much fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Scary. I'm scared by that. If you want to know what scares Drew, like, people in beaver suits. I don't like it.
Okay, good to know.
No, there's something about it. It reminds me a little bit of, like, you know, the cartoons in Skinamarink, or like the It's a Good Life segment of the Twilight Zone movie, not the Twilight Zone episode necessarily.
No, it's in the movie. It's in the movie. It's the cartoon things that come to life in the Twilight Zone film.
Well, yeah. That's what I was saying. The movie specifically, and not necessarily the episode, because the episode it's based on that doesn't really happen.
No, that's everything. What is it called? Like Everything's So Good or something? Because it's about the kid in the cornfield. It's a Good Life, right?
It's a Good Life. Yeah, he turns a guy into a Jack in the Box. Is the main thing. But the movie where she's going through the cartoons and he brings, like, actual Tex Avery things to life in real life, and it just looks horrifying.
Yeah.
There's like, I understand why, like, something like this would be frightening, because there's an element of, like, surrealist.
It's very Adult Swim infomercial. Like,
it's Cheddar Goblin. It's Cheddar Goblin.
Yeah. It's Too Many Cooks, which again,
Too Many Cooks.
Both by the same guy. That's Casper Kelly. It's also that the one I really liked is unedited footage of a bear. The one that was, like, started out like it's a YouTube thing, and then it's a commercial for a nose medication, and then it turns into this weird surrealist nightmare. Like, I love that, and I think that this is, like, seems very creative, very freaky. Not sure if I'm gonna, like, love the whole movie, but I appreciate it. I appreciate that this is coming out. This exists.
Yeah, me too.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice job.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Congratulations to us, because that's a sode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Drew, thank you so much for being on the episode.
Thank you. I hope I didn't interrupt too much. I'm giving myself a score of 7, but I'll probably revise it after I go and listen to the episode and probably put it down more. Yeah.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I give you a 17 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit some plugs again? What do you want to tell people?
I want to tell people to go see Beau is Afraid tomorrow. I'm seeing it in IMAX. Go see that movie. It looks really good.
Go see Beau is Afraid.
Go see Beau is Afraid. He literally, Ari Aster's calling it his Jewish Star Wars, and I want to see what that means. No, go check me out, Video Drew, on all the soch. Like I said, I'm doing this new project for Daily Dot called Passion Fruit. Sign up for the newsletter. go check out the website. I think the website is Passion Fruit, FRU, and then .it. I think that's how we're spelling it, guys. So, yeah, so there's that.
Cool.
And then, yeah, check out Content Candy. We're going to be ramping up production on some more stuff there. We have a YouTube channel where we do the Video Chronic quizzes, pop culture quizzes. We've been getting back into those. We just did Better Off Dead. Weirdly Unproblematic. That movie held up.
Nice.
And yeah, we're going to do a bunch of fun stuff. That's it for me for right now.
Cool. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We got exclusive podcasts on there. You can watch movies with us every Friday night. There's all sorts of shit to check out on there. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. Check it out, please.
Yes.
Please. We also have a store over at gamefullyunemployed.com where we have a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your Beau is Fearful peepers onto that.
Do it.
Do it!
Oh, I forgot to plug one thing. Can I plug one more thing?
Uh-huh.
Wait.
Do it.
I have a Twitter account that I think you should succeed, which is a succession / I think you should leave meme account. So
Beautiful.
Incredible.
Me and Lon have been running that, and we've been doing pretty good. So it's ITYS, and then the word succeed is part of the S.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Hola.
Bye.
Bye. Shalom.
Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. You can find more of his artwork at instagram.com/mvbramleyart. Our episode artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.